Bowling is an extremely complicated sport, from ball changes to oil patterns to everything. There's so much to mention. But there's a technique that remains heavily underutilized by everyone, from the pros to the league bowlers to the normal person. House bowlers don't usually know about this, and they might not even see it on TV every week. But what most people do notice when they see a bowler on TV is they are standing very far left if they're a righty, and very far right if they're a righty, at least most of the time. This is usually due to a heavier or a longer oil pattern, making it so that you have to keep the ball closer to the pocket so that it has time to hook. I explained oil patterns a little bit in the last video, so I'm not going to do much here, but I think it's beneficial to everyone, even non-bowlers, to know why they do this and how it affects the game, and more so, why do people play even deeper than the ball return? But first, before we jump in, please subscribe. We're getting pretty close to 10k, so I'd like to hit it soon. Anyways, on to the video. This is Chris Prather, and what he's about to do in this clip is bowl 300 standing further left than the ball return. But how is he doing this? Bowling lanes only have 39 boards, so, of course, bowlers have to make their own if they want to play deep enough. What they do to make these boards is to loft the ball. This delays the ball reaction down lane, or gets it through the fronts, meaning not putting it down early on the lanes. Lofting can be done in a variety of circumstances. When the long pattern is too long and you don't have the right equipment, so you just have to tackle it one way or another, or when the lanes are super dry and there's not enough room for you to be able to throw the ball. This is what Chris is doing in this clip. He's throwing the ball because the lanes are too dry and he doesn't have the right equipment to adjust. So what does he do? He stands so far left that he launches the ball over the gutter cap onto the lane, gets it nearly out to the edge of the lane near the gutter, and has the ball hook all the way back, covering so many boards that it's hard to count. Welcome to the art of standing deep and lofting, a technique so underutilized it's nearly criminal. A right-handed bowler would normally stand somewhere between board 20 to 25 on a house shot. Standing deeper means moving to boards 35, 40, 45, or even way over on the left side of the approach in front of the ball return. From angles like this, you can't just roll the ball down the lane. You have to give it some height and give it some time to hook, and also get it down the lane so it has time to hook. A great example of a bowler who does this technique very well would be Jason Belmonte. Jason is a master of this technique. There's videos of him where he's standing on the left lane in a pair of lanes, and he's lofting the ball that deep. He's sending it all the way to the right side of the lane and all the way back. Similar to how we saw with Chris Prather in the clip I previously played. But why should you play deep, and why should you even loft it? The issue is that modern bowling uses complex oil patterns that can make traditional angles, playing it straight, nearly impossible in some cases. In recent times, the oil on the lanes has only inflated, with heavy volume throughout the front part of the lane. From a normal position, your ball has to travel through all that oil at a shallow angle, but from the deep left, you can create a steep angle that bypasses much of that oil pattern's defensive characteristics. By doing this, you're able to keep the ball closer to the pocket and have less time and less boards that it has to cover. This steep angle creates devastating pin carry, but requires insane accuracy. In many cases, on today's challenging patterns, this angle advantage can be the difference between averaging 200 and averaging 220. But who is good at this technique? Why would someone even practice such a skill? Well, a lot of the time it comes down to two-handed bowlers. A lot of the higher level elite two-handed bowlers like Jason Belmonte, as I mentioned earlier, can play extremely deep with this technique due to their rev rates. A lot of one-handers have also adapted this technique. Some notable examples of one-handers who have done this in tournaments, on TV, etc., would be Chris Prather and DJ Archer. This technique can be extremely effective on flat oil patterns, long oil patterns, dry conditions, wet conditions, just generally conditions where traditional angles aren't enough or something other arises. However, there are some risks to using this technique. It demands precision, that most bowlers simply will never possess. Missing your target by 2 to 3 boards can be the difference between a strike and a split. The margin for error is razor thin, even smaller than before when you're bowling on a PBA pattern to begin with. Usually, most people have to pull this technique out of their tool bags when the oil is broken down. And by broken down, I mean that oil is taken off by bowling balls, put down the lane. The pattern is just generally shifting because when you throw bowling balls down the lane, oil is moved, oil is removed, oil is just generally touched. So when patterns break down, a lot of the time they start to hook more or hooking earlier. And due to this, bowlers have decided that sometimes the fronts just aren't worth it anymore and just go straight over them. In a lot of recent tournaments, a lot of PBA players have been playing super deep. A good example of a player who is great at doing this is the rookie last year, Ethan Fiore. If you saw the PBA 2025 Nevada Classic or the 2025 Major Championship, the PBA Players, you would know that this kid can play deep, and he could play deep really well. Or, if you wanted another example, just look at the Delaware Classic from 2025. Boog, in this title match, was standing so far left that it is just crazy to think about. Many of the newer professional bowlers have mastered this technique. So, the technique is reshaping competitive bowling strategy. Tournament directors now consider how patterns will play for both deep angles, shallow angles, and not just the traditional approaches. A lot of bowling patterns are built like puzzles. You have to find the solution, you have to be precise while doing so. But a good portion of the time, lofting just takes out part of the precision and replaces it with its own precision. Granted, this precision is not so board specific. And what I mean by board specific is instead of playing a specific area, you have to put more effort into your technique, launching at the right height, the right speed, because of course, things are always going to be harder to control when you have to put the ball 20 feet down the lane and 6 feet in the air. Lofting has just shown how far this game has gone in recent years with technology and technique. From the old era of rubber bowling balls and bowling balls just barely doing the work for you, to now, where bowling balls hook so much where in some cases, bowlers just have to completely ignore the pattern and literally just throw the ball into the air. It's a technique that no one really considered for a long time because it wasn't necessary. But now, with the modern evolutions of the sport, and in the recent decade, we've just had to make adjustments. We've just had to figure something out. And this is a solution that works for a lot of really good precise bowlers. So, for most people, I'd say bowling and lofting isn't a great idea, but for those who have mastered it and those who have practiced it well and are accurate, it can be a great tool to keep in mind next time you attack a bowling pattern that is just hooking just too much. But I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below, and leave a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. But that's all I've got time for today, so I'll see you guys next time.